Hey everyone, Chris Haddon, Jason Balin, co-founders of hardmoneybankers.com and REI360.net. Here we're doing a cool show about goal setting, an accelerated approach to goal setting.
As you can see, we are live here, as usual, in our Columbia, Maryland office. Goal setting is a very, very, very popular topic that Chris and I discuss on a regular basis, as well as our staff members. We think it's extremely important to kind of mentally prepare yourself and get your goals on paper and understand a vision of where you want to get to. So got a great show. It's a great topic. Check it out right now.
All right, so first things first, break it down for the people. What's rule number one when it comes to goals?
Rule number one is to write your goal down. Writing a goal down makes it real, right? That sounds simple, but
most people keep them up here, and it's much less real. And writing it down can be anywhere. It can be actual paper, it can be a whiteboard, it can be Evernote, it can be in your Gmail, whatever. But it's physically somewhere.
It's whatever is defined best for you. It could be a picture of something. Right? If you have a goal to, save up money to buy a car or whatever the case, put a car on your wall.
Yep.
You can define it any way you want, but it's extremely important to write it down. Mentally kind of understand what that goal is first and put it somewhere. Now we have goals hanging on our walls, on our whiteboards. I framed these thermometer things based on how many rental properties and what we want our loan portfolio to be over a period of time. So
Sure.
Any way you can express it.
We keep them all around us like that.
Any way that you can express it that hits home and makes sense for you, that you're seeing it on a regular basis, then it's real, and you have to stick by it. You could post something on Facebook if it's losing weight or something like that. Any way you have to do it.
Yeah, we'll talk about the accountability too.
It's got to be written down and put to paper.
Yep. Rule number one, got to be written down. I'm going to go with rule number two, and we didn't number these really, but it's going to come out that way.
It does kind of go in this order too.
Yeah. So I'm going to go with rule number two is every goal has to have a date. And I've heard a good saying or read it somewhere. It says a goal without a timeline is just a wish.
That's right.
Probably a good way to look at it. So yeah, date those goals. And they could be 5-year stuff, which is a little scary and daunting and everything else. And we've gone through those exercises. But I like 1-year goals. I like shorter term stuff. It's just more real, more tangible when it's closer to the present. And 5 years out, it's hard to stomach those.
Well,
things.
It also depends how big the goal is, and
For sure.
I have a philosophy of go big or go home, and and obviously it's got to be attainable, and it's got to be something that you can't say, oh well, I have zero money today, I want to make $1 million by the end of the year. That's possible, but that's hard, and it's got to be something that is attainable. So that kind of leads us to where we're. Something we like to call specific measurable results. The goal has to be measurable. It has to be something that you can actually.
Let's call that rule number 3.
Okay.
It has to be measurable.
That's fine. Rule number 3. It's got to be measurable. And what we mean by measurable, for instance, if it's saving money. Let's say you want to save, $100,000. You can, the measurements, the amount of money that you're saving over any given period, and it's working kind of backwards. So you determine if I want to save $100,000 by a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, how much money I need to put away on a monthly basis in order to hit that.
And people make that mistake all the time of not making it measurable. People will say I want to do more yoga this year. And what is that? How do you measure that?
Yeah.
Or I want to get better at golf.
And you can get better at golf and you can get better at yoga, but you got to put measurements in place to do so.
What do you, or a number of days a week, or something you can count.
What are you going to do? And that was a goal that I had 4 years ago, was to get better at golf. And specifically what I did was, I'm at 16 handicap then, I want to be at a 10 handicapped, right? It's hard to get to that. And after seeking proper guidance and getting a golf coach, because that's obviously important, we understood the goals together. I told him exactly what I wanted and how to get there, and I had to do a certain amount of lessons per week, a certain amount of practice per week, a certain amount of on course playing.
And you made it happen.
So it's all attainable. It's just a matter of doing that. And one thing that we've always done with our specific measurable results, and I know you don't like that 10-year plan, but
it's a little scary.
We'll talk about some things about that in a second. But, you start at the 10-year plan. Let's say it's something crazy. Like, if you're going to do a 10-year plan, it's got to be something that you can't imagine you're actually going to hit.
Okay.
Because some for us were, having a loan portfolio of a gigantic size, or just doing a crazy amount of loans than we ever imagined, which we are doing now, and it took us a lot less than 10 years. But we had a plan in place. We started at 10 years, and we worked our way back 5 years, 2.5 years, 1 year, 6 months, all the way down to 2.5 weeks. And keep in mind, for a 10-year goal of what you need to do in 2.5 weeks from now is not that much. It's a little stuff.
True.
It's baby steps over and over and over and over.
Let's go with rule number 4 for that. Start at the end and work your way back to today. Right?
That can be rule number 4.
I'm just kind of making up rules and throwing them out.
I got a number 5 if you want.
What's your number 5?
But if you want to keep going on number 4, we can keep talking.
No, I think you explained it pretty well. You can cover that. What do you have?
Okay, so another big part related to this and why a 10-year goal shouldn't be all that scary and attainable. Number 1, because you work yourself backwards and you do your 2.5 in a month, and they're little things, and then you're always revisiting these goals, reviewing them, and then you're revising them. And those are the 3 most important things related to it, because it got to the point of, I'm going to kick this goal in the butt, and I'm a year in on a 10-year goal. Maybe this goal needs to be changed.
Sure.
Or on the other side, it's I'm not close to this yet. I need to rework it. What best works best for me. So I reviewed it, and then I'm revising it. So don't let something like that scare you. It's just kind of gives you a benchmark of where to start.
For sure. And you mentioned your coach. Diving on the coaching part of it. And I've been going through this a little bit myself just recently. A little bit of our history related to coaching. Jason and I hired a business coach probably 4 years ago, and I had a good 2-year run with the guy who's an excellent coach. It was an awesome experience in going through all the basic stuff, the things we're talking about, the various goals and different aspects of life, and going through the full exercise and planning out into the future and working our way back and all the action items. Awesome experience. And like Jason mentioned, we hit a lot of these big goals much sooner than we thought we would. And then, I haven't been working with the coach for a little while, and that's okay. I mean, sometimes you're really pushing forward, and sometimes we're expanding out into other things. But I'm thinking about it again now. And not totally committed to getting a new coach, but I've been chatting with a couple, and since we've done all the general stuff in the past, now we're looking at specifics, different areas of business that I want to focus on and improve in. So it's been part of the reason why this goal setting and show topic came up is because I've been going through this and having these conversations, and it's interesting to circle back on it. And honestly, I'm kind of torn between working with a coach again or not.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we highly recommend getting a coach, and not necessarily a specific coach to the trade, even though that's important. I think that's more kind of consulting, and then work your way, and then, but more importantly, general business. Like, for instance, our coach doesn't know anything about real estate, or didn't know anything about real estate. Right. Chris did a two or so year run. I did about a 2.5, 3 year run, and we were so hyper focused on exactly what we needed to accomplish. And it took us to a great level, and both of us are trying to determine, and this kind of also leads to coaching, if we want to jump back into doing some more aggressive hands-on coaching, and specifically what we want to be coached on, because that's another important thing. If you're just starting out, you do need general business.
For sure. Everyone learns the same stuff, not exactly, because everyone's business is a little bit different, but there are so many overlapping themes that everyone out there could benefit from. And I think the best advice is just don't reinvent the wheel and follow the formula. Just like when we talk about reading books, all entrepreneurs read the same stuff. They all read the same stuff. There's basically a reading list. It could be like college. This is what you read once you get into this. And we all end up knowing the same things, and it's all super important. Same thing happens when you work with a coach. It's follow the steps. Don't think that it doesn't apply to you. Don't think that you have to do it radically different, because it applies to 99% of people trying to do what we're all trying to do.
That actually could lead us to, what is it, our number 6, which could also be the last one, because this is probably the most important. But one big thing a coach does is hold you accountable. That's obviously a big purpose of it. And we both felt we were really accountable for our actions towards the end of that tier. We had exact game plan in place, knew exactly where we want to be, and not that we're unaccountable now. But we're trying to focus on different things, different things. Interview a few coaches, a few consultants for some other longer term, bigger projects that we're working on, and it depends on where you're at right there. But you got to have some kind of coach in your life. I actually technically still do have 3 coaches, but they're all personal development projects. They're not on business, but
yeah.
And they help hold me accountable and push me to where those specific projects and specific goals are.
Yeah. So just to recap, guys, and I'm doing this off the top of my head. Hopefully, I hit all 6 of these. So number 1 is your goals have to be on paper for sure. Number 2, put a date, because without it, it's just a wish. Number 3. You got to be measurable. Thank you, Mr. Producer. There has to be numbers and actual measurable things related to the goal. What's number 4?
We may only have 5.
Do you know number 4?
All right. So 4 was what? Measurable.
4 was start at the end and work backwards. 5 was get a coach.
6 was accountability.
And 6 was the accountability part of it.
Cool. Hope you guys enjoyed the show today. As always, we'd really appreciate it if you like, share, comment below. We're always looking for great topics and content for our fellow viewers.
For sure.
We appreciate it all.
Coaching. Like if you have worked with a coach in the past and your experience, or if you're considering it, or even if you think it's total BS and you would never do that, let us know why. Let us know what you think.
And if you need recommendations for a coach or anything else related to some of the topics we talked about today, we are always here. Please comment. Please reach out to us. We certainly appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed the show.
See you next time.